What's going on, world of the internet? It is I, JJknight, and I'm here on this wonderful Monday morning, drinking some coffee and hanging out as I might maybe write some stuff for my own things. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe we'll find a tangent and we'll spend the next couple hours just talking about that. But anyway, uncomfortable in this chair. Here we are with some way too docile music. This stuff's gonna put me to sleep. Let's see if we can find something a little more upbeat that won't get us taken down. What one are we even on right now? I don't even know what playlist this is. Let's do. Like, where's the navigation button on this website? Here it is. Let's go back to this one, see if this gives us anything to inspire creativity or whatnot. Alright, so the thing I'm working on right now is I've always had this idea. I guess maybe it comes from, ancient Greek cities, these big marble statues and things, but for some reason I've always had this alabaster city in anything I've ever written. I just think it's really cool. I'm not even on the right thing. That's embarrassing. It's like this northern city that is just a lot of the ancient things that are already there are made out of this alabaster, which is an interesting idea because it's a soft stone and is generally used, to create statues and sculptures and stuff. But the idea that a city, or at least major parts of a city, alabaster city, that's a couple things we could talk about it. We could talk about a short history, current age, we'll call it, the surrounding, oops, if I could spell, surrounding area, I guess, surrounding area, Alabaster City, on the shores, or on the edge. Let's see. We could change. You know what? We could sit here and we can make fancy names for everything. What up, Shadow Warden? No, you're a gay boy. Ooh, that's what I should do. Do I want to do that? I almost thought about going the Moss route and having all of chat on the screen, but that might not be the smartest idea. Let's see. And then jail outlets. What do you got going on, Shadow Warden? Two places we'll talk about. History. Well, I don't know how much the history of this place, right? How about current? Not much. Much is known about the city. It's, you know what I find? I feel like when we were kids, we all learned how to write on like, or how to type on like the same keyboard format, right? Like all keyboards were the same and all this stuff. So now I have my gaming keyboard, which doesn't have the number pad and it's real scrunched together. I have my wireless one for my second computer, which is totally different. Then I have the laptop I use at work and my laptop, and all the keyboards are different. So like my I type horribly just because I use so many different keyboards, it feels like, and I'm always clicking weird buttons and sending my does anybody else have that problem? Is that something anybody else finds, or am I just weird? Because I feel like that's a thing, and it should be. I feel like it's a thing. Nope. And it was discovered. Ooh, you know what? I haven't read those ones yet. That one's on my list. I have The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, which I've heard is really good. I've seen The Ranger's Apprentice show up on some lists. I have to finish. I don't know if you've ever read. Where's my camera? If you've ever read this series, this is the last one, and I'm not too far into it. I just haven't picked it up in a minute. By Anthony Ryan. This one's pretty good. If you're a fan of Patrick Rothfuss, and kind of that style of writing, because the first book very much follows that Name of the Wind narrative, where you're hearing about the first part of the story from the main character himself. He's telling it to somebody. But that one's pretty good. Ranger's Apprentice is on my list. I have to... You know what I need to do? I think what I need to do is... We have a bar... Oh, when does that open? We have a Barnes & Noble's opening here in town shortly. And I should go there and buy more books. I have so many I still have to read. No, I need to set some time apart every day to read. Not about the city when it was discovered. What is now the interior? Again, these names are definitely going to change, but for now they are. It was today. Creation of Master. Beautiful sculptures and here we go. That's a pretty quick look. The current, not much is known about it. It was discovered as an interior. Scholars think it was a creation to the sun. To Welcome, my God. Alright. Oops. Is home to the royal family and church, so to speak. Some people of influence. Jeez, I cannot spell today. I don't think I can normally spell anyway, so I don't think that's new, really. It's home of the royal family, the church. Some people of high influence have been granted. Built. Hi, Chrysanth. We do have some writing. 12 books, and the next one's placed in East from close friendship to apprentices. Oh, nice. Well, my favorite author, and the one that I generally reread every couple of years, Raymond E. Feist's the Midkemia cycle, I guess, is what it's called. Saga. I don't know. That's if you read it from start to finish with the side books, I think it's 25 or 26 books. And once I get going on those, I will tear through those books in, I don't know, 2, maybe 3 months. I mean, I get to a point that if I really, and maybe that's why I don't read as much, because it will consume me. A book will consume my life. And yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, I've heard all these names. I think I saved, I don't know if it was a TikTok or an Instagram reel. I mean, they're all the same thing, where it had like the top 5 book series, fantasy book series out right now. And I know The Ranger's Apprentice was on it. And then I think it mentioned some of the offshoots of that as well. Yeah, Wheel of Time, it's like one of those that as a nerd, I probably should read. But I don't want to. Like, you hear these, it's so funny because you hear horror stories of people like, oh, I started reading Wheel of Time. I had to read all the first 5 books before it really got interesting. And I'm like, you need to catch me. Like, I'm not going to spend, especially the size of those books. I think I have the first 2 somewhere on one of these shelves, at least. And it's like, if you're going to make me read 600 pages, you better catch me in the first 50. Or it's going to take me a year to read a book. And that just seems like a lot of commitment. I mean, I could do the thing where, like, I read it for a bit and force myself to get through a couple hundred pages and then read something exciting and then come back to it, get bored and go back and forth. Yeah, let's see. When I was in middle school, it was, well, Harry Potter was finishing pretty much. I think the 7th book came out when we were sophomores. Me and my friends were sophomores, maybe juniors. I don't even remember when the Harry Potter book came out. Uh, Aragon books were out. That was big with me and my friend group. I read, so it's so funny because I found maybe 3 people in my entire life who have read these Garth Nix books. I don't know if you guys remember these, if you've read these at all. These are very strange, but these have always inspired my love of like playing a good aligned necromancer, because that's what these books are effectively. Yeah, it's interesting. Garth Nix is a weird one too. I don't know if an 11-year-old, 12-year-old should have probably started on these books, but I did. All right, let's see. The rest of this year's built along. I'm going to use the word alabaster a lot right now just because I feel like it's the only thing to do. What is this song right now? I need to ask Moss what he uses when he listens to music when he does the Saturday stuff. I feel like he's probably told me 400 times, but I never remember. Ah, na 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 na. Made of the stone. I don't like how I said that. He is within our family at church. This road. Not what I. There are 4 sections. See, can't type. The city. Keep. Oh, that's all right. It doesn't really bother me, Chrysanth, because I think if you type in, I think I've Googled, I think it comes up if you take 2 seconds to look for me anywhere else. Oops. I always use the wrong keyboard. I think if you type in any of my usernames, it actually comes up with me anyway. Oh no, it comes up with the author. Dope. I'm off that list anymore. Sweet. For a hot minute there, if you typed in JJknight, I think you just found out all the information you needed to about me. Oops. Where am I? I guess I can cut it a little bit. Whoa, no. What's happening? Eh. Not too worried about it. If somebody really wanted to find out any information about me, they could. I'm not. But I am curious as to why this isn't working the way I want it to work. It should be. I mean, I probably shouldn't have it out in plain view. Here, we're gonna do this. Ah! There we go. There we go. I keep. Every big city should have a fish town. Emails and stuff. So, did anybody play any games this weekend? Game night, normal D&D sesh, anything like that? I have not. I keep something I gotta do. I have a group here in town. We just haven't been able to connect. I think Wednesdays we'll be able to, but I've been getting my freaking ass kicked at work. So we're coming up on a normal schedule again for myself. Maybe I can get an IRL game going because I would love to roll the nice shiny goblin dice that I have. Oops. Well, okay, so my life, say pretty much the past year, right? So, I left the last managing job I had is just because they were kind of just starting to mess around with income and stuff, and I didn't really like it. The drive was too bad and whatnot, and so then I get into a pretty good, I get into that coffee shop, but then my mom moves in with me for about a year for some stuff, so it sort of was a little hard to do everything I wanted to do. You know, I lost some. You move in with somebody, you just lose privacy. But we started there, you know. We had some good stuff going, and then it just got too expensive to. My schedule was decent then, but then again, you know, I had to work around the pups and somebody else, living with somebody else to do stuff, so that messes you up. And then I sort of was on the edge of deciding to move up here in South Dakota, so I moved back in with my parents, and their internet just sucked, but I had a great schedule and I had a really bad setup, and I just couldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't even really film. I'm sure everybody remembers those horrible streams I had for a minute there, and then, you know, Moss took over Tuesdays, which is fine. And then I moved up here, and of course, the days they need me, 100% because it's the day that I do my double. So it's my like 14-hour shift is on Tuesdays. So that had to go to the wayside. And then I'm settling into that job and I'm sort of getting a schedule. And then one of the other managers kind of quits. And so I had to pick up a couple extra shifts or two. Not that it was bad. It still kept me, under 50 hours a week, but I'm still adjusting to everything. So it's just, I'm now at 2 restaurants. I'm working 25 to 30 hours at each restaurant trying to learn these restaurants. So I'm just more like, there's just a lot going on mentally. And now we finally got to a point, and that was like 3 weeks ago. And so this week is the first week of our new manager's full schedule. And it's still a little wonky just because we're figuring it out. But I'm now back to having 2 days off. So that's nice. I now have 2 full days off. So it's been this strange, I'd say 6 months of just trying to get a steady schedule for myself. But over the last week or two, I've been trying to get on and stream a little bit. Moss has been holding down the fort. I don't know how to ever thank him for that. As I figure out how to do anything. And I know I'm working on getting another live show going. Either, I don't know, I think, the only night that I really have for sure right now is Friday night. So I'm thinking of doing another live show Friday nights, or just getting into the more recording stuff, because live shows are fun, and I have 2 really, really fun ideas that I think would be good for live shows, and then I have a bunch of ideas that would be fun for recorded shows. So it's just kind of finding people that have some time to do all this stuff with at this point. So, yeah. Because our Fear of Ages Past group, Frost, Michaela, Commander N, and myself, I'm not sure. After we're done with Fear of Ages Past, we're going to jump into a different show with that same crew, because they're all really awesome, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So at least we got one steady group of guys to kind of continue doing some stuff. Yeah, time is always the issue, and and I'm never going to fault anybody for not wanting to take time if there's no money involved. I wish I could, I'll play the lottery and get a jackpot, and I'll be like, all right, throw some money at all this. Yeah, so, and that's, and building it, that is kind of my like bar for cast members, or those guys. And so that's a pretty tough bar to meet. I loved the Pirates crew. I don't want to continue the Pirates game without Moss because his character was the captain. So eventually, if we can kind of get to a point that we are all on the same boat again, we'll bring the Pirates back. But for now, that'll go, which is fine. I think we surprisingly ended it on like a really season-ending moment. So that'll be good. And I want to do. So I want to do either a Curse of Strahd, but I want to use a different system. I don't want to use Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I don't want to use 5th edition for a Curse of Strahd, because I think the thing that I don't like about Curse of Strahd with any of the 5e stuff is it really, like, to make it what it is with like this intense kind of horror game, 5th edition just doesn't have those mechanics. And I think there are other systems out there that are best suited to that. Curse of Strahd is an amazing bad guy. Curse of Strahd is an amazing setting. Ravenloft and all that stuff. Or I have an idea for a homebrew, which I feel like a homebrew one would be really fun again too. So I'm just kind of, over the next week or two here, I'll figure out couple avenues and see maybe who has some time to do some stuff, and we'll go from there. So everybody's got shows right now. Our little collective of channels, everybody seems to have stuff going on, and that's fine. I love it. You know, Shadow Warden, the sad thing is, I'm not a huge fan of Savage Worlds. And the reason is, maybe it's just the player in me. When we did, maybe it was just the game. When we did the March of the Dragon Queen, it just, the combat, I don't know, it just felt like you either kill everything in one hit or you're just slapping each other in the face till somebody gets really lucky and does a stupid amount of wounds and you're out of bennies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is 100% true, James Cash, and welcome. Yeah, learning a new system is tough. But, you know, I feel like every system does something really well. Savage Worlds, I think, is a great, if you can only get together a few times a week, kind of my opinion on 5th edition too, and the new one falls into this as well, and even maybe to the extreme of this, where I've always felt like 5th edition is for your heroes, like your epic heroes, and that's fine. I love that, and when I played with my IRL group that I got into the game, 5th edition is a great place to start because it is what, you know, whether you watch Critical Role or any of these other shows that people mostly get dragged, have been brought into the hobby on, that they are the heroes. You're very powerful fairly early on. Mid-level, you are extremely powerful. And you know, it was a good step in a direction from 4th edition. 4th edition would actually probably do better now than when they first published it. I feel like we've talked about this, and I feel like Arudai has even said this too, maybe. If we saw a resurgence in 4th edition, it would probably be more popular than 5th edition because it is a little bit more video game-like, and it is very, here's what you have, here's what you do, and that's it. You know, you had your encounter powers, at-will powers, daily powers, whatever. And I just, coming from, you know, my first tabletop game was 3.5, so Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 in 3rd edition. Yeah, Suede is very easy to learn. That's definitely for sure. But for me, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really like the combat in Suede. I have so Free League Publishing actually sent a box of a few of their tabletop games that I'm gonna dig in here shortly. I gotta film an unboxing, and then I'll probably put that up as a short and on TikTok and whatnot. But I'm excited to get into those because that, so far, everything I've played and everything I've read from Free Publishing, whether it is the One Ring 2nd edition that we played for Fear of Ages Past, or the Electric State one, which we are going to do after Fear of Ages Past, are very easy and sort of like, I mean, they're kind of theme centric, but they're simple and everything is sort of boxed together for you. Let's see. Let's get you on chat here. What, sir? Hi. Take a nap, sir. area. So it's really, yeah, the James Cash. I have the same problem with Pathfinder 1E. Like, it is my favorite. It's the one I've played the most, just because third edition 3.5 is what I started in. About 4 or 5 years after that is when the branch of fourth edition and Pathfinder came around, and we went to Pathfinder. And you really have to. Hey, sir, no. You really have to, as a dungeon master, you sort of have to say, hey, this is the theme of our Pathfinder 1E game. Here's things we're not going to use. Here's things we are going to use. And there's just a lot of it for Pathfinder 1E. So, and not everything kind of meshes that well together. Bandit was dragging a towel out of the laundry bin because he's pissed off that I'm not paying attention. Isn't that right, sir? Where'd you go? What are you doing? Because he was going to start eating the towel, so I yelled at him, right? You bad. You can't jump that way. I don't think you can get up here that way. Can you? Do you got enough room? Did you get up here? Hi. Okay. Right. What's the matter? Do you feel neglected for some reason? We just got back from a long walk before jump. What's up, History Eraser Button? We're just chilling. Doing some writing, talking about tabletop games. Actually, I think, do I have space for it? I might have space for it. Let's put a chat box. Oh, there she is. I don't think I need it here. Can I get rid of it there? Oh, no. No. There we go. Actually, what I'm going to do... Sorry, I've got... Got you guys set up on our TikTok too. So I've got to figure out how to... I got to figure out the layout on TikTok when you turn it is something. Let me tell you, it is definitely interesting. Probably shrink myself a bit. Actually, there. Actually, just gonna go. There we go. I'll leave it there for now. I'm sure. Will you let me? That'll work. Oh, did I already have a chat box? And I just am now realizing that it was just not on the screen. I hate the scrolly wheel, but it won't let me get rid of you. That's annoying. Yeah, whatever. That's just life sometimes. Right? I don't know what the weather is where you are, but it is a dark, gloomy, rainy day here. So it is a perfect day for prep. I think I could just... Yeah, we'll just hide it from that. I don't need that on that. That'll work. Nice. Still a great day to be at a coffee shop with a nice cup of coffee and be writing. So are you running Seasons of Ghosts, or are you running Signal of Scream now? Or are you running both? History Eraser Button, or are you in one? I read what was happening once, and then I forgot. Me and Moss were talking the other day that like both of us need to get better at social media. Okay, so you're just playing it both. Nice. So who's taking over then? Because Arudai took over Strange Aeons. And I forget who's taken over some of those things. Because he reached out to see if I had availability, but I do not, sadly. Okay, nice. Hey, errands are good. Cool. Nice. I know I haven't been able to... I don't think I've ever been on something. Luckily, Moss has, because he's doing something with Avenue Studios this weekend. But I have not caught them at all. Always, it's been... I don't think I've sat in on anything with them. They're cool. Nice. That's awesome. I know I want to do... So I had this idea a while ago before my move, so I didn't start on it, of doing a battle royale, but making it a little bit different. Doing a battle royale where every person who is in the battle royale gets a system. Now they have to be systems that kind of have similar mechanics. I've seen that a few times, and I've always been curious about it because I've known there's a few YouTubers and streamers and stuff that have been talking about it. Oh no, rookie! It's not a battle royale just D&D. It's like one person might have 5th edition, one person might have Pathfinder 2e, one person might have Pathfinder 1e, and they get to create 3-man parties, and it's just more of a which tabletop is on top kind of thing. So they'd all have to be the same system template. You're good. No, I agree that the battle royale thing, but honestly, it is depending on how you're doing it. It could be a good filler if you're like, oh, I don't have all of my normal cast. But it would be fun to do. And the reason I thought about it was because I was talking to somebody about March Madness. If we did like a bracketed, because I think it would be tough. Yeah, and Savage Worlds would be a good one you could use because you could do like somebody could be a modern or a futuristic kind of setting, because Savage Worlds does encompass all of those, which is nice. But I definitely don't know enough about Savage Worlds to be able to moderate that one. But if somebody, I guess, Savage Worlds would, I don't know, I guess you roll d20s and stuff like that. You would just have to know, for instance, 3rd edition Pathfinder 3.5 and well, I guess I got rid of them in 5th edition. Have reflex, will, and fortitude, which that's a pretty easy conversion into 5th edition because you could just say, fortitude is your strength and con, reflex is obviously your dex, and then will is your wisdom or intelligence. So that's not too bad. Yeah, I have notes somewhere on how you sort of translate that into the other one, history eraser button. Because what it would be, you'd have to almost, if it was like a 5th edition person attacking a Pathfinder 2e person, you'd have to kind of use both rules for the attack. So like with the criticals, if it's over 10, your 5th edition person would crit on a Pathfinder 2e person as if they were a Pathfinder. It was, I have notes somewhere. I haven't played it out. I'd have to sit here and make 2 fighters and have them roll against each other and just see if one is just stupid against the other. But it would be pretty fun to watch if that could happen. Yeah, James Gash, I've been there before. At 5:30 definitely makes anything past 7, 8 o'clock not viable unless you want to be tired. Oh yeah, I think I have there was at one point a whole PDF on 1e to 2e conversion. Somewhere. But that would be a pretty fun one, I think. Just yeah, it's a weird everything is close enough where you could make it happen. I think the biggest thing would just be you'd have to have kind of an overseer or a referee who makes the call, right? On those weird rules where each system is different on the rule. I think somebody would just have to be there to be like, okay, the ruling falls in line with the Pathfinder 2e version, or you just have a set of rules that says, if there's any strange, this and this, the rule bases on the attacker's system or something like that, just to make it fair. Sir, get Bandit off the cord. Thank you. You goober. But it was definitely something I thought about doing because I think it'd be a lot of fun to kind of see which system comes out on top. And I was going to even reach out to from Avenue Studios. Dan has his own system, I think, right? Am I correct on that? I was going to reach out to him and be like, would you like to see if your system is better than everybody else? Or who does what on there? Isn't somebody? Or is it just the D20 coach? I don't know. I get confused. I could swear somebody from their little group is working on their own tabletop game. But, and we have another one that... Okay, yep, okay. I knew... Okay, so it's not his, but he's working with the guys for DC 20. Okay. That's what it was. But that'd be a fun one, too. Again, that one's a D20 system. Tales of the Valiant, if you guys remember that. Yeah, I signed up for all the newsletters and stuff, and at least for now, it's called DC20, which I think is a great name. You could, I mean, when I made the list, it's on my phone still. It might be on my phone still. Let me see. What was the list of ones that I came up with? Okay, so here's, yeah, there. When I was thinking about this, I found my notes. Look at that. There you go. Shadow Dark's another one. So I had obviously 5th edition 2014. If somebody wanted to use the 2024 rules, that'd be pretty funny. Pathfinder 1, Pathfinder 2. I'd even allow Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition and 3.5. We have Tales of the Valiant, DC 20. I don't know how far those guys are along with that, but I would definitely reach out to those guys. Shadow Dark could be another. D&T, was it D20 Modern? If anybody remembers that. There's some ones you could really go back for, but if we could get like, I don't know. Well, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so eight people to want to create their own little like 3-man party with a specific system in mind that they know. You know, give everybody the same amount of money across each system. They probably do 3rd level. For sure. I mean, they just, yeah, that was 2024's. It didn't really bring anything new. Like it wasn't a step in either direction. It wasn't necessarily a step back, because it's not. It doesn't. It kind of just changes how things are written. That's really all it did. They just literally rewrote the rules, and that was pretty much it, I guess. And added some and changed some things around. Because if you look at a lot of the classes, what they did was they just took a lot of the, you know, unearthed arcana and stuff they created in further content for 5th edition and brought it into the core mechanics of 5.5 or D&D 24, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it wasn't. There is no reason to buy it. That's it. That was the whole thing. And they lost all of their like senior development team. Mike Merle's left to go to Chaosium. Who's left? Chris Perkins is gone. So they wrote, you know, they got all of their senior development left, and they've been there since the, you know, end of 3.0 and 3.5 and into 4th edition. And you know, I know there's a podcast out there, I forget what it's called. I listened to some of it with Mike Merles, and he's not nice. You can tell that. I don't think his NDA is necessarily over, but he is free to talk about his opinion, and his opinion is pretty funny, because you can very much read between the lines that he's angry, because that was probably, you know, that was his career for almost 20 years. I think he was there, right? Kind of as Wizards of the Coast took over TSR. Yeah, they just made 2 big drastic changes and to certain things, and didn't change enough of the actual mechanics, because that's, you know, at the end of the day, when we're looking at tabletop games, for the most part, we're buying them because of the mechanics. Because you can put mechanics in any setting, in any world. You know, Savage Worlds Pathfinder is a great example of how you can play anything, any mechanic style in any campaign setting. So you don't, you know, unless it's just a campaign setting book, you're buying a tabletop game for its mechanics at the end of the day. And then from there, you know, applying it to whatever story or setting that you are enjoying at the time. And homebrew is a big thing now. I mean, it's always, well, it's, homebrew is coming back, I should say. For a long time, 5th edition did a really good thing at kind of saying, hey, you want to play these, you want to play these, you want to play these with our rules. Then now, I think everybody is kind of like, oh, well, we've played enough now to create our own worlds, to create our own things, and have been playing long enough, because that's what you see. I feel like everybody has played Curse of Strahd. Everybody has played or the Dragon's Hoard or whatever, or Mines of Phandelver, and so on, and continuing forth from there. Tyranny of Dragons and whatnot. Although I will tell you, the saddest thing for 5th edition was they dropped the ball on the Temple of Elemental Evil. That hurt me a little bit, because I played part of the OG one, and that one hurt my soul quite a bit there when they sort of just fumbled the crap out of that one. Yeah. And, and I think that's great. And I think everybody should have a favorite system for, whatever genre. Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, they're high fantasy, with a little bit of... Pathfinder kind of leans into the steampunk a bit, which is cool. Starfinder's a great sci-fi one. It depends on, again, what type of game you're playing. I think that they did some things really well in both Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2e. I think there could have been things done better. As in Strange Winds, when me and Leylines would try to figure out how to keep the stranger kind of equal in battle with as much kind of futuristic sci-fi stuff as we could. But that's what, Shadow Warden, I guess maybe I said it wrong, but that was kind of my point, is 5th edition sort of brought everybody into the pre-written games, because the way they sold it, like Odyssey has all the mechanics of Odyssey in here. And it's like, oh, play this, I could be wrong. That's just what I've seen. And that's just the last couple years of me playing, too. I like pre-written stuff because it alleviates the time that I need to prepare, because I don't have a lot of that. It's one that I never got to play that I have, and I've always wanted to, is Fantasy Age. I have the 1st edition. And I know they came out with the 2nd edition or whatever not too long ago. Right. Oh man, I actually have to get in here and mod my own chat. Somebody wants to be... Yeah, I forget where I picked it up. Oh, I remember why I grabbed it. So it was Will Wheaton did. There's a sci-fi pre-written adventure for this. This is the 1st edition, and look at that. That's like what you want, when you're looking through what tabletop I'm gonna buy. So it's a D6 based system, and it sounds really cool. It's very simple. The Ashes of Volcana was a Will Wheaton web series on Geek and Sundry going back. These guys also did the Dragon Age RPG, which also did a show on Geek and Sundry. And this was cool because you roll 2d6 and then you roll a trick d6. So you roll 3. And if the trick one is a crit, you can enhance whatever you are doing by a trick, basically. So a spell you could add to it, it would become more powerful, kind of like a crit. But I think there were also critical hits too. And I like that. I just never got around to getting a group together to play it. But this harkens back, this has the feel of 3.5 and Pathfinder and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Although I will tell you, a lot of they did a sample adventure in here, and it's really weird. Because it's like you're a group of kids. It was very strange. Because instead of being like, oh, you can, use these characters, you're all effectively not even level 1 characters using these rules for some weird summer camp hijinks thing is very strange. But yeah, it's one I never got to play. Although when I bought this book, it also came with these, which I thought was fantastic. So they were all your stunts. So like the cool shit you could do. It was little players cards. Little nice little laminated cheat sheet cards of oh, what can I do? And what are the quick things in this game? So I thought that was really cool. You see that a little bit more now, but at the time you didn't really see that at all. Nice. I don't know. I've never been able to fully write a homebrew world. I do things like, all right, we're going to be in this city, in this region. And I've just never, over the years, I think I've lost most of my notes. I had a couple really fun adventures. And I'll tell you one thing that I'm working on right now. So I have, for our Patreon, I am working on a couple adventures, and I'm going to, put them in different tabletop games. So I'll probably just, for ease of my life, the first ones I'll build will probably be Pathfinder and D&D, and then I'll look at getting them into Suede and all these things like that, because that's talking to Moss. That's something I really want to do. Is there's not too many publishing companies who publish for tabletop games, but they only pick one or two legendary games, or at least they'll repeat for only one or two things, right? So Legendary Games has a lot of the pirate third-party stuff that I was using for 5th edition and Pathfinder, but that's where it stopped. So I'm finding that my layout and book design skills are horrible, and I'm having a hard time figuring out how to put those together instead of just in a Word document. So if you're part of our Patreon, I do have some fun adventures that you can bring to your table. Some will be, just short little fun encounters you can throw. Some will actually be, maybe 2 or 3 session adventures, depending on how quickly your party goes through stuff. And that is some stuff that I am working on. I should find a local graphic designer who can do layout design for me and just see if they'll become my best friend and do a few for free, or at least give me a template so that I can just plug and play everything and get them up, because I would like to give those who are supporting us more things from us. Yeah, fantastic, sarcastic. I would say the entire Star Wars Expanded Universe can count. It's a series, and the series is the Expanded Universe. History of Spent. I need to. So I don't know if it's what edition it is, but I have one of the base Suede books. I should reread it again. I think that I am slightly skewed because of how the bennies were and stuff like that. But even besides that, I just felt like there were times when I was gutted from some epic moment because of a Benny. And I hate that. As a player, you know, I'm sure that you know, it got, and again, like I said, I'm probably skewed because of how I played it. But even when I think about it and I take the fact that, okay, let's say, you know, me and Arudai, I was fighting with Elias and I would hit and I would use Benny's to roll attacks to get a big attack, and then he could do the same thing. It is still sort of a battle of attrition with Benny's anyway. You know what I mean? Like if you wait to use them for the big boss fight kind of thing. And that just wasn't my favorite thing about that, is because, you know, I got, you get maxed at 4 wounds, all these things. It's like, oh cool, I just rolled 45 points of damage, but because the max I can do is 4 wounds and he uses 2 bennies to soak them. Now that to me is an example of something that could happen naturally in the game, right? We didn't use, and I felt like I used bennies probably the most in that campaign because I never had them, because I didn't want to just hold them and be like, well, I'm going to wait to the, I'm like, I would rather have some of these boss fights where I had no bennies. And I'm like, uh-oh, Elias could die if I get unlucky, or if, you know, something like that. And so that was that was fun for me, you know, to be like, how do I save my character without having to rely on bennies? And so that was fun. But no, I just felt like there were a few times that I got gypped out of an epic moment in my head because of a Benny. Whether that is because we were monetized and had a lot of them, whether that is just what happens in the game, you know what I mean? So I know that my experience with it is slightly skewed because of that, but overall, I don't know, I want to feel like my 40 something points of damage. Yeah. Very glad when you started using the rules to control Benny limits on actions after fiasco with comics on. Yeah. Which, dude, let me tell you. I don't know, when is the right amount of time to wait until I run a Curse of the Crimson Throne? Because I've ran it before, and I love Curse of the Crimson Throne, and it's a great game that could be great game live or recorded. Hey, Moss, how are you, buddy? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, that is, I would say, as much as the back end of the after recording until it goes the editing part is a bit of a hassle, I think that showing the nature of the game, how it's meant to be played in the recorded sessions, is a better look into how a game runs than having live. But, you know, the live stuff is fun. I think, you know, there's been a lot of moments. It is fun to be like, I have no bennies, and Arudai is going to come after. Well, okay, so Arudai can't kill me for some reason. It's Moss. But anyway, it'd be like, I have no bennies. And, you know, having chat, throw things in directions. That is a lot of fun, though, too. You know, but I get what you're saying, where it can be something that destroys a moment, or, you know, takes away from a moment, or lends its hand to one if it's for the heroes. So yeah, putting stricter rules on it definitely is something that I think would have to play no matter what system, you know? That's why I didn't mind the pirates. I didn't mind that you guys in the Piratescape, they didn't have 1,000 doubloons, because then they had to use them sparingly. They had more than you would get in a natural game, but, you know, you still were kind of like, Do I want to... It's a limited resource. Do I want to use it now? What's going on, 40 Viking? But, yes. Anyway, back to maybe some writing. Also, Moss, since I have you here, if you are still here, what do you listen to when you listen to music on Saturdays? You've probably told me 100 times, but my brain no worky a lot. I'm using Pretzel Rock, which is fine. This playlist is weird, but it's just background music. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Yeah, and it's so one of my favorite YouTube channels that I watch every now and again is Knights of the Last Call. Those guys are really cool. And they did a Rise of the Rune Lord 2nd edition. This is years ago when I found them. And they had and at first it was super fun, but it has actually led to a TPK, effectively. Was like the Wheel of Death kind of thing, where someone, whatever the amount was, I think it was $10, and this wheel would spin on the screen, and that's what would happen. And it ranged everything from like instant, HP back for the PCs to all of a sudden the encounter gains another 5 challenge rating for Pathfinder 2e, which those who play Pathfinder 2e can know that CR is a strange thing, but it can very easily get out of hand. And that's exactly what happened. They were in a spot, I think they were in the 3rd book of Rise of the Rune Lords. 3rd, maybe the 4th book. And there is a moment when you are in kind of a giant cavern, and there's multiple encounters set in each places, and somebody paid for it, and it was make the CR rating higher, and the only thing that would make sense to the moment is to bring one of the other rooms into the room they were fighting, and it effectively caused a TPK. And so you got to be careful with those live shows when you have things that the chat can buy into. Because it can, whether for good or bad, it can definitely sway the outcome of anything. 100%. Fantastic. There is no way to monetize a live show without it breaking in some way. Yeah, I think the best way to do it, personally, is kind of like a fill the bucket. And I've seen that done a few times. Acquisitions Incorporated, that's what it did for theirs, was you fill a bucket. So they would do effectively luck points, and it wasn't a $10. Yeah, I need to go back and watch those werewolf games, but it wasn't like a $10 and give something. It was the bucket is $100. Each player has a bucket, and when you donate $10, you say the player, and then it goes into that. And when that bucket is full, the player then gets that reward, or the DM gets that reward. It makes it so the monetary value might be a little bit steeper for the reward, but there's a chance for you to sway an outcome, right? Like, and that's what the point of that is to give chat some sort of involvement in what's happening, whether it be just luck points or hero points or what have you, or if you have a bigger one for the DM that says, now the next combat is tougher, or add a random encounter or something like that into something. But you have to, I think that you can't just, it's hard to do that when it's just like $10 here, $10 there. Every $10 gets somebody something. You sort of have to make it bigger. But I don't know what you guys did for the werewolf game. So I don't know where that went. But Mega is really good at using that stuff and probably being able to curve it if needed. So it's an A in there, isn't there? Yeah, okay. Special for abilities for players. Like each player has a bar that needs to fill up in order for them. Or research ability, find out or something like that. Yeah, Moss, that's probably the best way to do it from what I've seen and what I've thought about. And or even a bar, to get, every time the bar fills up, whoever's bar it is gets 2 or 3 hero points, or restacks hero points, or whatever that resource is that you want to use. But you have to make it so that it's not something that people can just throw right away. Shadow Warden, are you saying our Fear of Ages Past is super cringy? Is that what you're trying to insinuate right now? There are moments that are somewhat cringy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, early days of Critical Role, it was donations. I don't think the players ever got anything. I can't remember if the players got anything for early donations. But yeah, I remember those bad boys were getting donations all the time. And it is also no longer live. Yeah, it hasn't been live in years. Pretty much since they got their new studio. So COVID. Campaign 3. They went to pre-recorded, which is easier because they can plan out 2 or 3 episodes at a time and probably record it. Probably, scheduling wise, it's nicer, and it probably allowed them to have more guests and stuff. Just give respect for the only chat my game I've been in. My Ruler's game is streamed, but nations don't affect the game, which is yeah, exactly, James Cash. That is, I mean, if you're trying to, at the end of the day, that is probably the best way to go about it, is that nothing really affects the gameplay. But it is, on the other side of that, it is fun to allow chat to have a say in how things play out. But yes, it does need to be careful, because I think no matter what way you try to implement it, at one point it will get taken out of whack. But that's just the nature of it. Well, yeah. So I don't know who is a big fan of Dimension 20, but super control play. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would be a good way to monetize it, would just be to use mechanics that are in the game. That's a good one too. Fantastic. And that would go well with like what Moss was saying, where, you know, let's say each player's character has a $100 bar. Every time that gets filled up, the player now has the option to, you know, gain an instant short rest, gain an ability back, or, you know, set amount of spell slots back as that goal is hit. That would be a good one. And again, it can shift the tide, but I don't think it's something that would happen as frequently as, you know, we had the Benny system happen in Curse of Crimson Throne or March of the Dragon Queen, where, you know, you throw $20 out and all of a sudden someone is flush with bennies again. Who doesn't love a hurdy-gurdy? I don't think I need to say that. I think that's pretty much. Alright, let's see. Section of the city. I keep on the Royal Church, select ability, Merchant's Row, Brown, Shale. Port area, surrounding area, North Sea, the Shale. That's a good start for some of this stew. I guess this has got to split. Alright, calm down. Trying to visualize the city in my head. For now, working title of the square. Close to keep. Scale for 50. Or, yeah, or you just have a blanket rule. So, I would actually rule it so if the bucket was filled, so to speak, the player would have the option of three things. Maybe if it came to spell recovery, it would kind of be along the lines of most of the abilities you have in something like 5th edition, where you recover, your level in spell slots. So that would be useful because, maybe a first level spell doesn't help you, or maybe a 5th level spell doesn't help you, but a multiple 2nd level spells. So I think it would be, because if you're gonna ask for some sort of monetization, the reward should be pretty good. So I would say, if you had it $100, the bucket gets filled and your mage character is allowed to pick, do you want a short rest worth of hit dice, spell slots back, or one of your, abilities renewed, whatever. If they pick the spells, it could be, their level and spell slots, and they can decide how they want to divide that out themselves. Because if you did like a equivalent, you were able to use hit dice, it'd be the same thing. It'd be hit dice up to, whatever hit dice you have left, or, whatever hit dice you have available. And then for abilities, it would probably be something, it could be any ability. So, Wild Shape for Druid, for instance. So. D1000 is a huge number. Let's just hit a 1. Oh. There's something out there for 5th edition specifically that is just adding wild magic to your game all the time, which I think would be really funny. Oops. And it just has a bazillion choices. It's insane. Yeah, and I think if you were to do something like that too, it, you'd have to be careful the line of like disrupting gameplay to being kind of comical and irrelevant. Yeah, you have to sort of leave it balanced though. So if you have one that disrupts the game one way, you do have to have the other that disrupts the game the other way, because there's two ways to do that. Bad for the players, good for the players. God shows up and helps the players. King of Hell shows up and doesn't help the players, Oops. Oops. Can't fill. Most of the place. Most. The word that I am looking for, or the sentence I should say. Main market towns, common market shops, goods. Is used to as I can't spell whatever spell check. Yeah, dyslexic. Jesus, I can't. There are. Here, but see you later, mouse. Was you making noises now? Doing. Hi. Okay. What, sir? Need the pulse? What's that? Go get it. No? Yeah, I don't think that really needs anything else. Yeah. Please. Oops. Base. Place. That's monsters. So I think back to kind of writing here, the Shale Lands is going to be one of my favorite spots because I have this idea um, about kind of the mythos for it, because it's kind of this ever shifting plane of rock, where there's a few plateaus and stuff that are kind of safe havens from the shifting rock and whatnot. But the mythos behind it is that the people of this area actually think that it is some sort of giant serpent, and that, you know, is why there are as many monsters and stuff that it is before. Think of like a inspiration from Jormungandr. Stop. The people next to me are putting things on their walls, I think. Alright, that was annoying. Hazards. Legend of the Barrios. Mouse. Oops. Wishes, what do I... Alabaster City is cool, but what do I call this area? Like, what? What would the rest of the world... I guess I don't know. What would the rest of the world call this area? Coming up with names for stuff is so annoying sometimes. I don't know what to call this part of the north of this world. For now, just so I know where we are in the world, it should be the north. Does this follow that though? Rain mound shit here. Make sure. Alright, yeah, that'll work. works. I wish I was good at using an incarnate because I could probably make this look cool, but I suck at it. So the maps that I have are like not great, but that's okay. Just trying to think in my head here. What else in this area? I guess I can notate that there are. Oh no, that's not. Oops. There are small. Outside the city. Posts are working. Mines. Mostly mines, I guess, would be out here. There's a little bit of lumber in some areas, etc. Stuff like that. You're not really going to run into just towns because of... Dude. Humans. Yeah. Mix of humans from world. But mostly this area are a hardy group. All burly people. So I don't want to go just straight Vikings, you know. Like, I mean, this is that is kind of that person you put here is kind of that hardy, burly type human. I would say would be native to these lands. But also, if you look at like Eskimos and stuff, I don't think they're not naturally huge people, but I think there's something. Well, that's what I mean. I don't know. A hardy group. Tending to be. Okay. I hate that I can't do mod stuff from Streamlabs. I have to actually have each of the streams open with the creator. Bye-bye now. True, true. True, true. So I think I'm going to lose that as a descriptor. Oh, okay. There we go. At least stockier, I feel like. I wonder if I changed this. Oh. I hate having two keyboards. Let's change that and see if I get more people in here. Well, I think a hardy group is a good way, at least to explain their demeanor, you know? Kind of, they're not too worried about the troubles that I've had, but I got to think of the shales, right? So it is this rough rock that not really anything can grow on. There are small plateaus that'll be stationary. You might have soil or dirt, or and that's where your kind of civilized portions of this area are going to be. It is going to be, a colder area. So when I think of that, yeah. And that's why, I think to be up here in general, you'd have to be hardy. And again, it's a mixture of people. So there doesn't necessarily have to be a static native race or ethnic group to this area. But I feel like those who have been here for generations might have taken on and I would almost say grooming habits or just general lifestyle habits to kind of encompass the idea that they are from the north. So, becoming hairier, so to speak. So, what's going on, Biggles? And maybe, they're naturally just kind of a more fit group of person because of the life that they live, right? Being bigger because it's colder here, so eating a lot of kind of the fats and the meats and stuff like that. I think that if I have a couple different ethnic groups in this world, that you could find almost any of them that would fit this template of a Northman. I have this idea of the South. There's a desert in this world where obviously those with more melatonin in their skin tend to do better in those environments, but that doesn't mean you might not find a very dark man of the North who his family has been here. Maybe he has some of those mixed traits, so maybe he is a little bit taller or even shorter and just a stockier build. Build. So more of I think I need to shift my thoughts into more of just lifestyle choices of body and how they would just be living. You know, take some inspiration from like in Alaska or the Eskimo where they have a lot of a high fat diet and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, you never go outside, so you're safe. I tan pretty well. Although there was that one year, I can't remember if it was I can't remember if it was one of your birthdays. No, I don't think it was your birthday. I think it was. I went with a different group when I went tubing down the Salt River, and my legs were so bad for 2 weeks that I had to ace bandage them because they were like peeling. I'm pretty sure I got like 2nd-degree sunburn that year. That was a fun one. I don't think that was my trip with you, Biggles. I think that was a different one. I'm gonna put Harrier because it's the only Harry. Because I just imagine these big, like, almost, I don't know, they almost have some of that dwarven kind of builds to them. I imagine the workers on the piers and stuff like that are these kind of big bulky guys with big hairy arms and stuff like that. I don't know, I just have this vision in my head of a dock worker. But I do like the idea that it is not a static people. It's just, if you're the 4th or 5th generation maybe that has been here, you've started to, your body has naturally started to kind of adapt survivable things about your life, or even the lifestyle you live is going to be more geared to that. You're going to wear furs, you're going to wear kind of thicker clothing. I say native. I don't think I can clarify that here. I think dwarves would be... You'd find a good amount of dwarves. Good population. I don't know. I feel like the dwarves up here will be your pretty standard fantasy dwarves. They are, again, kind of what we see in most fantasy things. I have an idea for their ethnicity of dwarves that'll be unique to what we kind of have as the stereotypical dwarf. I'm gonna put... God, I cannot type today. Just gonna put that for my own note taking. See you, History Eraser Button. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a good day as well. What? You got something to say? You got something to say? You come up here. Come on. Come on. Come on, Gypsy. Hi. Hold on. Hold on. That's my shirt, ma'am. Let's move you a little bit there. Oops. Can I flip this? What? Stop. Come here. Are you on camera now? Not really? No? Okay. Get your nose a little bit. Hey, don't eat the blanket. What's wrong with you? Sir, it's for you to lay down on. What's happening? We got so many notifications all at once. That was insane. Don't eat that. Ban it. Not being good night. Yeah. You, rats. I'll fight you. I'll fight you. Don't eat that. See what I have to deal with? See what I have to deal with? These crazy monsters. Yeah. Hey, you.
Now we are ready to head for the horn away.
You're fine. What was it? Alright, I got a little bit. I'll fight him. I'm not gonna bite him. I'll fight him. I'll fight him. Put him up. Put your dukes up. Put your dukes up, Gypsy. Put him up. I'll get you. Yeah.
Our anchors on board and our cable is stored to me, rollicking randy dandy oh. Rouster up bullies, your parish rig bars.
The torch. Hey.
Take your hands from your pockets and don't suck your thumbs to me, rollicking randy dandy oh. Heave a pole, oh heave away, away.
Oops.
Hey, roll and go.
There's none. Very rare. Very rare.
Rollicking randy dandy oh. Rouster up bullies, the wind's blowing free away. Hey, roll and go. Let's get the glad rags on and drive her to sea to me, rollicking randy dandy oh. Heave a pole, oh heave away, away.
Right?
Roll and go.
Oh yeah, no, he. Whatever. What? Chill out. So. Gonna be, let's see, third most. I don't think I want to label it like that.
On board and our cable is stored to me, rollicking randy dandy oh.
Oh my god, I can't. I need a better typing keyboard. I don't think I need to write that.
Summertime when we goes out haymaking, the lassies they will all turn out and freedom will be taken. They likes to get us country chaps, of course in harmless play. They likes to get us country chaps and roll us in the hay. For I can plough or milk a cow, I can reap or sow. I'm as fresh as a daisy that grows in the field, and they calls I Buttercup Joe.
Buttercup Joe is the name of the song, if anybody was curious.
They calls her our Mary. Her work's as busy as a bumblebee, and Farmer Jones is dairy. And don't she make they dumplings noise? Be Jove, I means to try 'em. And ask her if she'd like to wed with a country chap like I am. Her I can plough or milk a cow, I can reap or sow. I'm as fresh as a daisy that grows in the field, and they calls I Buttercup Joe.
Let's see. Do I have that still? Look something up. Look something up here. I have some names of things that I want to use over on these other notes that I need to find. Which one's this? There we go. That up for a bit. What is it? 1:30 for me. Yeah, I think I might be getting off here. About that time. I got a couple things I gotta do before I gotta head to work today. So, but yeah, I think this might be a Monday morning thing for me. Get on here, maybe do some writing, just some chatting, coffee kind of thing, and start the week off with a little creativity going on. I've said some key words that the dogs have picked up on, and so I think I now have to get off because now I'm going to get attacked until I do. So, it has been fun to hang out and chat with everybody about all kinds of stuff, and as I piece together a small little bit of homebrew here, and maybe we'll see it in a live game if I get around to get to a good point. But yes, I thank you all for joining me this morning, and I will catch you guys next time.